How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the double Gameweek 19 team selection. Apologies if this video is a little bit longer than the normal team selections, but unfortunately we have a ton of news to cover, especially because of these fixture postponements. So I'll be going through my whole chip strategy as well towards the end of the video and deciding finally if I am going to be bench boosting or not. So if that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So quickly doing a review on blank Gameweek 18, the first big blank of the season. We did use our free hit chip. Now I am recording this video on Thursday evening before the Arsenal vs Crystal Palace game. So that fixture still has to take place. When you're watching this video, you know how it went, but we still have Tierney, Saka and Lacazette to provide the goods, hopefully. And as I said, you'll know, so you can type an F in chat or a smiley in chat, depending on how that fixture went. But we currently do still have a green arrow, so I am still expecting a green arrow after tonight's fixture, because I think 3 players in the Arsenal vs Crystal Palace game is quite differential. So 100k up to just inside that 500k mark. Rank is looking more respectable now as we go on, but after the free hit, if I didn't get a green arrow on a free hit, I must have been doing something wrong. So 42 points, we're going to be going through some of the positions or some of the talking points. I'll be going over it briefly as this was a free hit side, so we don't actually have to put too much concern in the players in the side because they're not going to be on our mainstay side. So David De Gea and Lindelof, I'll first talk about the Manchester United defenders. So first starting off with Lindelof, I mean Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came out and said that Lindelof took part in full training, whereas Eric Bailly was only participating in half the training. So who's actually the one that injured? It's going to be Lindelof, the one who was in full training. So maybe something happened in that training session, or maybe a training session later on in the week. But Lindelof was yellow flagged, not even on the bench in that fixture, so was quite disappointed in that. You obviously know that Man United did keep the clean sheet there, so I managed to get David De Gea's 6 points, but a double clean sheet from that United game would have been really nice, considering that Spurs didn't keep a clean sheet. So that was the big talking point, whether to go for David De Gea or someone like Lloris, or maybe even Eric Dyer, because they were facing Fulham. But when they didn't keep the clean sheet, a nice differential would have been a double United clean sheet. So off the bench is going to come the hero Berkey with a lovely 1-point appearance. So he didn't even get to the 60-minute mark in their fixture against Newcastle. A little bit surprised there, as I was thinking that maybe Sheffield United would go on the more attacking side of things after that red card. But maybe that just shows that Berkey isn't the go-to man for that attack, and he was subbed off before the 60 minutes. But not too mad about there, because right in front of me I had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference news, and if he went against that, there's nothing much I can do. Then going on to the Man City options, we had Cancelo, Stones and Kevin De Bruyne, all returning a lovely 6 points. Kevin De Bruyne, obviously our captain. I thought that Kevin De Bruyne could have had a massive haul against Brighton, and that's even ignoring the Sterling penalty. Kevin De Bruyne had multiple big chances there, but his shooting just seems to be so lackluster recently, and he can't finish all those good chances. So that was quite disappointing. And then came the Sterling penalty. He wins a penalty. I'm going up in celebration because I know Kevin De Bruyne is the Man City penalty taker, but no, he gives it to Sterling because apparently he was tired, and then Sterling blasted over the bar, so he didn't even get an assist. I would have happily taken a Sterling penalty goal just as long as we got the assist, because the Kevin De Bruyne captaincy, although it was quite highly captained, Bruno Fernandes blanking made it just look a little bit better. But 6 points is not the end of the world. I was expecting more, but we just have to deal with it. Then going on to the rest of the team, I've already spoken about Fernandes with his blank. Typical Burnley game there, very boring. United could have had a couple more goals in that one, but it just was the one. And then we also have Heung-min Son with just 2 points because Spurs' only goal was scored by Harry Kane. So Harry Kane there would have been the best captaincy option that we could have gone for, but 8 points versus 6, not too much in there. Just kind of happy that I did have Kane in this one. And then going on to the rest of the bench, Mitchell probably won't come off. I'm hoping that Tierney, Saka and Lacazette all play tonight, as I think that we could be looking at an even bigger green arrow then. So going on to the fixture changes and the kind of predicament that we're in for double game week 19, I'm going to be only talking about Southampton, Leeds and Aston Villa, because those are basically the only teams that are relative to my own squad. But Southampton versus Leeds has been postponed because of the Southampton vs Shrewsbury FA Cup fixture. So yes, that means Southampton and Leeds now no longer have a double game week, which leads our team to be looking actually quite bad. So if you do remember, in game week 16 on that wild card, we stacked our team with triple Leeds, we stacked our team with double Southampton because of their players being so cheap and having lovely double game week fixtures. They look like quite good options. But now all that planning has kind of gone to scrap, and we just have to look at our squad and decide what we do with our chip strategy. And then with Aston Villa, so Aston Villa versus Everton has been postponed. They still have that Man City game in the midweek next week, but then they're also facing Newcastle in the FA Cup weekend. So I know it might be a little bit confusing not playing this weekend, but that game week is still fitting in Game Week 19 next weekend. And I mean, it is probably a better game week for them. I think Everton swapped out for Newcastle makes it a little bit more of a juicy double, but then they're also facing Man City. And the tough spot with Aston Villa right now is we don't know exactly who tested positive. We have some images posted by the Aston Villa players on social media that looks like they are training, some comments on Instagram posts, but that's basically all we have to deal with. And I'm pretty sure that the Aston Villa management won't come out and say who tested positive, because it's going to leave them a little bit hindered in their upcoming fixtures. So it's a tough spot for us. Maybe if we do get news about Jack Grealish, a player like Ollie Watkins, we could look at them, as I definitely think that that Newcastle game could be one to target considering how well Aston Villa had been playing. But with Southampton and Leeds, can't do much about that. They're in our teams, but we could potentially look at taking them out. So this is the current team going into double game week 19. I've not made any single transfers. This might look a little bit different from the game week 19 squad because I did take Salah to Kevin De Bruyne. So a couple of people were asking why Kevin De Bruyne is not in our game week 19 squads. That's because any transfers made in a free hit week are cancelled and it reverts to the team that you had the previous game week. So Salah comes back in here and now we have to make a plan to bring Kevin De Bruyne in if we do want him. So going through the lineup here, I still think we have a good shot at getting a successful double game week 19 score because of the players that we still have. Obviously the Leeds and the Southampton games being cancelled is a little bit of a hindrance, and it would have made for an absolutely majestic bench boost. I mean, just look at those fixtures if they would have happened. We would have had a stacked bench there with lovely double game week players. I'm pretty sure we would have been able to get 15 double game week players on the trot, and that's usually the recipe for success on a bench boost. So starting off in goal, we have Fabianski and then also Soufal, Burnley, West Bromwich Albion. From a West Ham point of view, really good fixtures. We've got Souček in the midfield to kind of partner them up. Now, if you are looking at an alternative for the West Ham attack, Antonio has come back from injury. He might not look at the optimum fitness right now, but I do think it's worth kind of taking a punt on him, especially at that cheap price tag that he does come in. With players like Adams that we don't know if we want to keep him. He is back from injury, but he has a tough game against Leicester. Maybe you want to take him to Antonio. I perfectly can understand that. I unfortunately can't do that move because I already have tripled up on my West Ham defense and midfield, but Fabianski should be back from injury. I know that he is yellow flag currently, but that's just because he wasn't on the bench for the FA Cup game on Monday, but he has posted on social media that he is back in training. Now going on to Justin, so Pereira has returned from injury. He's had quite a long-term injury there, so I doubt that he's going to be kind of forced back into the lineup, and considering that they played Chelsea in the second game, I don't think Pereira will start in that one. So I'm still confident with Justin. Obviously, he might come off on that 60-70 minute mark to facilitate Pereira's comeback, but I still do have confidence that he will start both of these games. And I mean, it is Southampton, Chelsea at home. The home fixtures might make it a little bit better for Justin, but with his attacking threat, I'm just hoping maybe for an attacking threat here because the clean sheets might be a little bit dry. Then going on to Luton, I don't really have much faith with the Burnley defense against West Ham and Liverpool. I'm kind of hoping that Burnley game against West Ham might be 0-0 because I would kind of get the most advantage out of that. And then against Liverpool, I mean, we saw Burnley keep United to only 1 goal, so maybe they can do the same with Liverpool or maybe even keep a clean sheet against them. We just don't really know, but I am not really expecting too much from Luton. The midfield, we got Fernandes, Salah and Son currently. We will be talking about transfers after this and what transfers I could be making. So I won't talk about these players too much just in case that they do get transferred out. But Fernandes and Salah probably going to stay in the lineup just because of that lovely double game week that they have. I think it's a better double game week for Fernandes because he does have that Fulham fixture away in the second game, whereas Liverpool hosts Burnley. And with the way Liverpool have been playing, I don't think that's going to lead to too many points. But Salah and Fernandes just can't take them out on a double game week. Going to the front line, Son and Kane against Sheffield United. Now this game could be an absolutely dire game. I mean, Fulham versus Spurs was quite a boring one. So I mean, imagine what Sheffield United Spurs is going to be. Maybe it's going to be the complete opposite and Spurs can actually get a good result in this one. But they're also not playing at their attacking best right now. And that's kind of leading me to maybe taking them out for more double game week options. Then we got Adams and Bamford. So I think Adams is probably the one that I'm looking at maybe taking out. I have Justin in defense. I'm kind of hoping that Southampton don't score in that one. And then with Danny Ings out testing positive, I don't know how good of an option Adams is going to be. Then finally on the bench, I won't be talking about the bench because we're going to be talking about that in my last talking point where I consider if I'm going to be using the bench boost or not. So going on to some transfers. Now, these aren't the transfers that I did plan, but I just want to kind of show you guys what I could afford with the budget. So no, I'm not really considering Cavani while I could afford him. I think I might look at someone like an Ollie Watkins, but I'm just waiting for some more news on Aston Villa, and I'm kind of hoping that Ollie Watkins is fine to play, as then I will bring him in. But for Kane, Son, and Kyle Walker-Peters out, I can afford Cavani, De Bruyne, and Ruben Diaz. So Ruben Diaz and Kevin De Bruyne are probably the two that I'm looking at from a realistic point of view, and then I would look at maybe Ollie Watkins more realistically than Edison Cavani. So KDB, great option going into double Game Week 19. We spoke about in the Game Week 19 preview how I think that he's the best captaincy option. Now, it's just going to kind of depend on if he starts both of them. I still do think he will start both of them, and I still think he'll do well, but I am kind of up in the air right now with considering players like Fernandes and Salah, considering that Salah probably will start both of them and get more minutes. But Kevin De Bruyne right now is my captain going into double Game Week 19, and I think that Ruben Diaz from that Man City defense, I was considering Cancelo until he started last night in that fixture against Brighton. So I don't really think he's going to start both double Game Week games, and that's why Ruben Diaz comes in here as a more assured option. I've already spoken about Ollie Watkins. I think against Newcastle they could still do well. Against Man City maybe they could even get a goal, but I think with the way Aston Villa were playing pre kind of this postponement, that kind of leads me to want an Aston Villa player, also with their fixtures coming up afterwards. So now the final question, and probably the one that you've been waiting for, is am I still going to bench boost? And the question that I've kind of resolved around is that I do think I'm still going to be bench boosting. Whether I take a -4 or a -8, or I just keep the bench as it is, I still think I have to bench boost. And this is kind of my thinking behind it. So I might slow my voice down a little bit because there will be a lot of detail that I'll be going over. And sometimes people have said that I talk a little bit too fast when I'm going over a lot of detail. So this is the thing. The plan for the rest of the season is in Game Week 26, there's going to be a double game week, and in Game Week 29, there's going to be a blank game week. We currently have used our free hit, we still have our second wild card, we still have our bench boost, and we still have our triple captain. So the reason why I think I will be bench boosting is, you know how I love a wild card plus a bench boost combo. And for that next wild card, I'm thinking about using it in Game Week 25 in preparation for Game Week 26. So you might be asking, but that sounds perfect. You're going to be wild carding, and then the game week afterwards, you could bench boost. But no, I will then have to prepare my bench for blank Game Week 29. So because I have already used the free hit, I can't use the free hit in Game Week 29 like other players, so I will have to stack my bench with players that do play in blank Game Week 29 in preparation for it. So the players that play in Game Week 26 and the players that play in Game Week 29 might not be the same. They might be, but I can't really plan for that in the future. And right now I have Leeds players against Brighton, which looks like a good fixture, and I can still make arrangements with a player like Kyle Walker-Peters to bring in another double game week alternative. So right now I think I will still be bench boosting, just down to the kind of logic I've spoken about with the Game Week 26 double and the Game Week 29 blank. And I think for our own strategy, although it's kind of ridiculous planning that far ahead with the way the season is going, I simply think that I have to. So this is basically a wrap the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new and have not subscribed yet. I'll be hopefully seeing you guys in a deadline with Dayvy stream coming up tomorrow as you watch this video. About 30 minutes before the deadline, that's usually when we go live, but otherwise just follow me on Twitter at DayvyFPL for further updates. I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.